Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters has now begun. Guests, please know that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches, or alternatively, if you have substantial relevant presentation experience, you may apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to approval by the members of our club. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role. If you have one, right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording this meeting. Your video or audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Please welcome our club president, DTM, Andrew Byrne.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody being here tonight and everyone continuing to participate in the club. And very shortly, as we're about to hit February and Groundhog's Day, to go on to the website and pay for your next round of dues so that we get that nonsense out of the way. I know that I've taken care of mine, but then again, I did a full year's payment, so I didn't have to worry about that. But anybody that wants to start moving in that direction and paying for the rest of the year, it would be very much appreciated, because I want to focus on you and all that we can deliver for you as a club. So that's one of the things I'd like to think about. All right. So at this point in time, the only thing I wanted to mention is many of the officers have already taken a project or have taken an opportunity to be trained for their role. And I appreciate them doing that so that we can have 7 out of 7 officers trained for that. And I hope that everybody is taking the opportunity to do that. But I want you to know that there are things going on. We are now in contest season. Many people in the other districts that they belong to are participating in contests. And David has a whole bunch of things as Vice President of Education that's under his purview that he's thinking about as well. But we want you to send in information to us and let us know how we are serving you. Are we serving you well? Is there something else that we could be doing? I know that people have given us feedback that they've enjoyed the tips that we've been doing as part of our meeting and learning and expanding their thoughts. But I want you all to be comfortable in letting us all know what else we can do for you, what more we can do for you. So with that, I turn it back over to the Toastmaster of the day, and they're your Master of Ceremonies. Go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you, Andy, and good evening, online presenters. I know a lot of us have talked about checklists. We can't do without some checklists. And then we have all sorts of to-do lists. Those are the things that keeps us from forgetting things. I was reading an article today, and I think the person's name was Brian Collins, and it was an article in the Harvard newsletter, and I mean the Forbes newsletter. And he was saying that there are 2 kinds of checklists that you really should use all the time. And one is a do confirm list. And he said that that is the kind of checklist that you have for all the things that you just normally do from the top of your head. And the only reason you need that kind of checklist is to make sure you don't forget anything, because those kind of things can be kind of mundane. And the example he gave was like a pilot. They have a checklist. They know all those things, but they have a checklist to make sure they don't forget something, because it could be catastrophic if they happen to forget something. And then another list is called the do and read checklist. And he mentioned that that's kind of like when we have the recipes, that we look through and we read it and then we do it. And so I would just like to say for us, for our to-do list as members of online presenters, Well, we will have a do confirm list, and that would be sign up for meetings and then review your role, then practice if you happen to be a speaker, then show up for the meeting and then make it a great meeting. And that's our do and confirm list for us today. So at this time, we're going to go into our meeting. First up on the meeting is our tip of the day. Do we do the grammarian first? Or go on to the tip of the day, Andy?
We do tip of the day.
Okay, cool. All right, our tip of the day comes from Dr. Sunny. So please welcome Dr. Sunny with her tip, 3 to 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmasters, by a show of hands, how many of you are aware of Udly? Okay, Toastmaster Jim, I see our president also. I am enjoying this app. In case you don't know what Udly is, it's an AI-powered speech coach. Last week, we were talking about artificial intelligence and the many ways it's changed our lives. If you've heard of Grammarly and you use Grammarly, it's like when you're writing, you get all sorts of suggestions. Think of Udly as the Grammarly for your voice. It's actually the mission of this organization is to help people, just like they do in Toastmasters, become more confident speakers.
The American author Mark Twain said that it usually takes him more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. Mr. Twain may have said this in jest, but the message behind this quote is meaningful. We should always practice.
I'm not sure where that came from. However, the good thing about it is it actually falls in line with Udly, because if you are doing a speech, Udly's job is to improve your communication skills, and it gives you private feedback. It's just like having a coach with you in a private setting, and it helps you improve your speaking without the pressure of an audience unless you want it. The way it works is that you get a lot of data back when you speak. Immediately, there is a transcript on your filler words, your eye contact, your pacing, your word choice, and more. And Toastmasters members, you can access Udly by simply logging on the Toastmasters account. And our founder, Ralph Smedley, said, "We learn best in moments of enjoyment." I really think it is very much a time of enjoyment if you check Udly out. I'm going to stop sharing, go to the website here, move some stuff around here. And this is my Udly dashboard. There is a library since I lost my recording, but Jim, ask me a question really quickly. I am going to record a table topic speech really quickly. Well, actually it's given me something to talk about. I have my camera on, my mic on, and I will start. Someone asked me that question though. Jim, if you would unmute.
What's your favorite vacation?
Thank you. That's a very good question. My favorite vacation will be my next vacation. In just a few weeks, I celebrate my 65th birthday. I'll be traveling with my sister and my niece, who is celebrating her 30th birthday. We are going to Punta Cana. We're going to have a wonderful time. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun in the sun, but it is, you know me, I usually say that you can always make more money, but you can't always make more memories. And that is what I plan to do. Once I stop my recording and then I save my recording, look at that, people. If you can see this, it just transcribes exactly what I said. Now, what it's going to look at for word choice is whether I said filler words. It looks like I said, you know. Right here, I don't have time to go into it, but every time you do something, it gives you a video explainer of why you should use less or more of information. I didn't have anything that was non-inclusive. For instance, I didn't say you guys, or I didn't say weirdo or crazy, but sometimes certain language is offensive to others, and we want to be mindful of that. It looked at my key words: birthday, make, vacation. It looked at some weak words. It says, those, like, just, basically. Well, I said hopefully and just and very. I think they may have been okay, but here's something that I love. When it talks about the delivery and pacing, it actually looks at my analytics and it shows me where I was a little bit low. So if I know that I'm low, it tells me when I'm revisiting my speech, it might be a chance for me to go up a little higher. So if I click this low spot, next vacation, in just a few weeks, I celebrate my 65th. We're going to have a wonderful time. You see how I went up hopefully more? It'll be a lot of fun in the sun, but it is, me. I usually say that you can always make more money, but it shows me when I smiled a lot. It showed me next vacation, and usually say that you can always make more money, but you can't always make more memories. Thank you. That's a very good question. My favorite vacation will be my next vacation. Okay, so you get the picture, but it also tells me some other things about eye contact. And the other thing, if you send your speech to someone else, they can make some information. They can actually just hit the enter button. And I didn't really need to do this right now, but I think because I did a tabletop, that's why it's doing that. But usually you have general evaluation, you will have coaches' comments. If there's a certain part of the speech, in just a few I can weeks, say, I love it, or I could say right here, birthday, stop smiling so much. And when I hit enter, I'll be traveling with my sister. I just slowed down my speech by accident. Sorry, everybody. Birthday. We are going to Punta Cana. We're gonna have. I'm going to stop there while I'm ahead. I'm trying to get this girl off of here. But it is. There, I shut her up. However, I'm so proud to know about this, the speaking analytics that you can get from delivery, and I already stopped sharing, but the speaking analytics you can get from delivery and word choice. And so if you get a chance, I suggest that you sign up for a free account. They also have famous speakers from Barack Obama to the world champions of public speaking. Many coaches already utilize this. I use it in my coaching practice now. I've been working with some kids and I have been sharing with them where they can actually improve. I'm assuming that I'm still at the yellow, because if not, okay, there we go. I just want to let you know that it's called Udly.ai, free for Toastmasters, and you can either do it live. Udly bot will come into Zoom, and when you're ready for it to record, it will start recording and it will analyze you that way as well. So perhaps one day we will have table topics with Udly. They also throw in words that you have to say and you get points for it, and that's fun. So that's why I said you really learn when you have some enjoyment. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Udly.ai.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sine. What an outstanding presentation, and you have so much information about Udly, and I think it's going to be great for all of us. We have some helpers, and I think that would be the general evaluator who's going to go through all of our helpers and let them know what they're going to be doing through the meeting. I've been absent for 2 weeks and seem like my brain is a blur.
Well, you caught me by surprise, so my brain is downright empty. I'll be happy to do that. However, I was not really taking notes when everybody was signing up, so we'll just kind of do the best that I can here. I'm pretty sure that Marianne Grady is our grammarian. Is that? Yeah, I see it there on your name. You renamed yourself. Thank you, Marianne. Would you please remind everybody what you will be doing this evening as grammarian?
As your grammarian this evening, I am going to be listening. I'm going to be listening for incorrect grammar, wonderful grammar, and verbal gems. Things when you string a lot of nice words together and we all enjoy them. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Marianne. And let's see, somebody, but I don't know who, so we have a secret counter. Who is the Wizard of Oz this evening?
I'm the
Somebody-
accountant.
Isabel, great. Isabel, you're the Wizard of Oz. What are you going to be doing this evening?
Yes, I will be note filler words and crutch words used by everyone who speak during the meeting. So I will take notes, and during the evaluation portion of the meeting, I will report my observations. Back to you.
Thank you, Isabel. In that same direction, we have a chat monitor, but he, she, or it is remaining secret. Who is our chat monitor this evening?
Well, the secret has been revealed.
Michael.
I, the chat
Outstanding.
monitor. The chat monitor is someone who monitors all the chats that are going on. Duh. But what's unique is the chat monitor watches the chats and makes sure that there's a question that an audience member or anyone has that gets directed to the proper person who could answer that question. Also, the chat monitor monitors the chat window for anything that just stands out from all the other chats. Something humorous, something on point, something just straight out of the box. There's something that perhaps the whole club could learn by. And at the end of the meeting, the chat monitor gives a response, gives a report on for 1 minute, a 1 minute report on what they find. Thank you, Mr. Jim Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mike Woodall. Appreciate that. Nice summary. And now, El Presidente Andy Byrne, you are our timer this evening. Would you please remind anybody that might need reminding what you're going to be doing as timer?
Thank you very much, Jim. Time management is one of the cardinal skills that we as Toastmasters try to master. Each segment of our meeting, and the meeting is in 3 segments, have their own time parameters. Table topics, for example, has time parameters of 1 minute for green, and you will see a green light behind me. If I get there we go. Green light behind me. And if it is 1:30, you have yellow. And if it's red, it's 2 minutes, and I will click on that. So I am doing those things. I'm still learning how to properly work with 3 screens at the same time and have my cursor go to the right place. But that's for table topics. For evaluations, it's 2 to 3 minutes. And the normal projects, if it's an icebreaker, it's 4 to 6. It's a regular project, it's 5 to 7, unless it's an extended project, and we'll let you know in advance. Thank you.
Thank you, President Byrne. Appreciate that. Nicely summed up. And finally, it's not really a supporting role, but it's someone who is going to be called on throughout the meeting, our vote counter, Diana Marshallek. Diana, please explain how people should cast votes to you this evening.
Certainly, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. My role today is to count the votes after each segment of the meeting. If you all would please send me a message through private chat, and then I will give my report at the end of the meeting. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Diana. I believe I called on everybody that has a supporting role. I guess I did. Okay, in that case, I'm done for the moment. I return control of the meeting to our Toastmaster de jour, Sarah. But you're muted.
Right. Thank you, General Evaluator Jim Barber. Next up on our agenda is our speaker, and we have a speaker this evening, Tricia Smith. And Tricia is working from the Effective Coaching Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals, and she's going to be doing her icebreaker tonight. Her evaluator is, sorry, Andre Smolenko. Coaches are motivators, inspirational leaders, and role models who are experts in their field with good interpersonal communication skills and ability to listen and understand. They have to be compassionate and empathetic to build consensus among groups and help others perform their best. Tricia's topic tonight is, hey, coach. Her speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Oh, sorry, 46 minutes. Please welcome Tricia with her icebreaker.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters friends and guests. I'm going to add to that introduction. Thank you so much, Sarah. This is my fourth path. I chose to do an icebreaker tonight with effective coaching. On the website, it says, hey, coach, because that's the path I'm leading to start. My speech is about my story. This is my icebreaker. So the focus is more on who I am. You may know a lot about me. You may not know anything about me. So now you're going to learn a lot about me. I have a lot to say. I'm diversified. So here goes. My background. I was born in Ohio, from the Midwest, in Illinois, most of my life, not all my life. I've done a lot of traveling, almost 50 states and outside of the country. I do mission work. I have several roles. I'm a teacher. I'm a writer. I'm a photographer. I am a naturalist. I'm a gardener. I'm a health coach. There's more. I have many interests. I grew up on a farm. I have 2 children, 2 grandchildren. I love the country life. I'm in a rural small town area. I've been to school 3 times. I was the first one to go to college in my family. The first education was business administration, and I worked through it. 15 years in the dental field, transitioned into the medical field, got into medical billing and coding and insurance. I became a certified coder during 9/11. Oh, but I always have to have a backup plan. So my backup plan was to go to school at the same time, 2 different locations while I was working full time. Yes, I'm a driven person, probably too much in my basket, but I accomplished it. I earned my first master's in education, became a certified teacher, so transitioned on a buyout from the dental, medical into education. So I've done different areas of education from preschool up to college level, which I do right now. So in education, when I finished that program, it allowed me to get into the medical billing coding field. So I've been in the career education side of education. I've worked 2 jobs at a time for probably too long. So it's a nice time management struggle and challenge, but I've accomplished that, and it seems to be a norm for me. Along with that, I have several clubs and community organizations I'm involved with for years. I like serving my community. It's important to me. So Habitat, I'm on the board. I belong to 2 art galleries. Toastmasters is one of my favorites. It's online, 2 clubs for a couple of years, back to online presenters as my main club, which I started with in 2019. I am a gardener. I have a sideline hobby business. Yes, hobby business. Still, after 30 years, it has not developed into more than a hobby business, but that's still a goal that I'm trying to pursue for this year. All natural care gift basket business, all natural care. I have the lifestyle. I'm an environmentalist. I promote that. This speaking and presentation and skills I've learned through Toastmasters has allowed me to build that platform. During COVID, things kind of shut down along with an online business platform that I had developed. So I'm back to that starting point. I do vendor shows, community events, farmers markets. So I connect with people. I like to connect with people. I work remotely, so I need more of those personal connections. So that's part of my goal. Let me back up to my experience since 2020. Yes, I work remotely. I've been working remotely for a number of years, and I've gone through a lot in the last 3 years. Did you notice I haven't been here much? Yep, there's a reason for that. It's called overwork probably, and a lot of other things that I've dealt with that weren't planned. So back to 2020, remote work, isolation like everybody else with COVID, and empty nester. No more dogs, no more children. Yikes, it was a challenge for me, a huge challenge. So 2021 rolls along. I'm not going to get the COVID vaccine. Don't need it. I got it. I did it for other people, and it hit me like a whammy. I had perfect health, and it affected my health. So 2021 and 2022 has been recovering from long COVID, including surgery and monitoring and all those wonderful medical bills that I now have and need another job to support. Ha ha. This year, I continue to work in my community. I'm the director of I'm on the board of directors for Habitat. So we're on our 30th year, 30th house. And guess what? I've been involved almost the whole time they've existed in my community. Art galleries and expansions of that, other things. My goal this year is to expand on the things that I've been trying to pursue and make progress and overcome and be an example and use more of the interests that I've had for many years, the writing, the photography, writing my story and other stories, and being an example for the next generation, like what we hear about in the news. That's my story. And I'm happy to be a part of Toastmasters. The one thing I wanted to say is how I got involved with it, to meet people, to network, to grow professionally, to learn speaking skills, presentation skills, listening skills, technology skills, still working on all that. But I have to say thank you to this group. This is my brag point with Toastmasters as online presenters, and I'm so happy you guys bring me a lot of joy being a part of this group. So that is my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Wonderful listening to all of your background. At this time, we're going to go to our table topics. And our table topic master tonight is Catalina. So please, Carolina. Please welcome Carolina.
Thank you, Sarah. Now is the opportunity for everyone to speak. Remember that for this section, you have between 1 and 2 minutes to create your answer to one of my questions. And the theme of this meeting is to-do list. And we are going to talk about planning because it's related to the topic of today's meeting. And my first question is related to this phrase: failing to plan is planning to fail. I would like you to discuss this idea, and this goes to Mike. You are muted, Mike. Let me have, okay.
Here we go. Thank you, Carolina Ramirez from Chile, our table topics monitor. It's so easy to look at your name and go Carolina, but I just know the Spanish alphabet. So anyway, failing to plan is planning to fail. I agree with that for the most part, for what it's intended to mean. Anytime we fail to do anything, we are planning to fail. It's like the lottery ticket that went for what, $1 billion this just last month, and somebody won it. If you don't buy a lottery ticket, you are planning to fail because there's absolutely no way that you are going to win. The odds that you're going to win the lottery are 0. At least if you get a lottery ticket, you have some sort of odds on that. So on one hand, planning to fail is just means not doing anything. You know, we go to bed at night, each of us, and the last thought on our minds are typically what it is that of our future self that we want to become. It's where we are today and who we want to become. This is what we our last thoughts, and we go to bed with a sense of hope that things are going to work out, and things are just going to go in alignment for those who are wanting to shift and change and to unfold into the new person that they're becoming. And a failure to plan is absolutely a plan to fail. There's nothing more important than what it is that we see ourselves becoming. And so in the mornings when we wake up, we must at least put one step of planning for the future self that we all see ourselves in becoming. Thank you, Carolina, for that wonderful question.
Thank you, Mike. And you were talking about nights and mornings, and this question is related to that. And it says, mention or describe 2 rituals. I'm not sure if the pronunciation is rituals, to start and end your days. And this question goes to Marianne.
Well, thank you for that wonderful question, Carolina. Rituals to begin your day are really critical if you're going to keep a positive mindset. And one of the things that I started many years ago is when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is think of at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And they could be big things. They could be really small things, like my bed feels so good today, or like, wow, I just moved into a new house. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter, but as long as you approach your day with a grateful attitude, you're usually in a pretty happy place to start. Now, I know a lot of people who don't do that, and they kind of start in a little bit of a grumpy mood. So it's a choice we all get to make what our rituals will be. You know, I do choose to have my coffee. That's a morning ritual. I go and sit out on my lanai and I drink my coffee and look at the ducks go by, and I love it. But now at the end of the day, that's when it becomes a little bit harder because we're tired. It's like, what are we going to do? So think about getting yourself in a really calm place, maybe like a chamomile tea, something to soothe you, to ease you into a beautiful night's sleep, because when we're rested, we all do better. And those are just a few of the things that I like to do, but I encourage you to develop your own rituals and the things that make you happy and make you feel calm and in a good place. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Marianne. Talking about phrases again. John Lennon sang, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." What do you think about this phrase, Diana?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. That's a good question. You know, Mike Tyson said, we all have a plan until we get punched in the face. There's also a saying that, you know, we make plans and God laughs. So having said that, does it mean that we should never make plans? Of course not. I'm a big planner. I plan everything in my life, and my favorite thing in the world is calendars. I'm obsessed with calendars. I have a calendar on my phone. I have a big calendar on my desk. And I'm just obsessed with planning. Having said that, we need to adjust sometimes, because some things in life you can't plan for. Nobody saw the pandemic coming, right? And so you need to be flexible, you need to adjust, because you can't plan every single thing in your life. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. Sometimes bad things happen that are out of our control. And we just have to say to ourselves, this too shall pass. And keep moving, keep pressing on. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Diana. And Diana mentioned that not everything is under control sometimes. And this question is related to that. Do you ever have a plan B for when something goes wrong with plan A? Give an example if you can, an example of your own life. This question is for Glenn, our guest. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Did you
So the
hear
question?
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Do you ever have a plan B for when something goes wrong with plan A? Give an example if you can.
Sure. Well, I used to work for a call center company for 15 years. And after 15 years of working night shift, I just wanted to get out. And I just wanted to go somewhere and live somewhere. But that wasn't going my way. So I had to do something about it. First, I tried to look for a job to another country just so I can go out and live my life differently. But my first plan didn't work, and so I had to do another plan, and that is to find someone that I can be with. And I was so excited doing that because I went online and I met this wonderful guy and finally got married. And from the Philippines, I'm now here in the US and enjoying every single minute of it with my husband. And my plan B worked really, really well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenn, for your answer. Sometimes I'm very busy and the first thing I cut in order to make something with my to-do list is cut my social events. And how do you clear your calendar in your busiest seasons? How do you clear your calendar in your busiest seasons? And this question goes to Jim Barber.
Thank you, Topics Master Carolina Ramirez. You're not supposed to call on the general evaluator when you're Topic Master. I hope you realize you have breached Toastmasters protocol, but I will answer the question anyway. A number of years ago, I did exactly that. When my social calendar conflicted with my business calendar, one of them had to go, and of course it was the social aspects, the fun things, the things that I enjoyed doing, because of course you've got to do business. And then I reevaluated everything. This wasn't overnight, this wasn't a sudden decision, but I gradually came to the realization that I had my priorities wrong. It's the social things that are truly important. I'm doing the business things so that I can do the social things. But for me to stop doing the social things so that I can do the business things, that's putting it backwards. So I started putting the emphasis on making sure that I did the social things, that I interacted with people, that I did the fun things that supported my spirit. And I fit in the business things where I can work it in. I'm self-employed, and so I'm able to do this. I don't have a boss that's telling me what I have to do. I am married, so I do have that. But I'm speaking in terms of business. I don't have somebody telling me what to do, when to do it, and so I can make that sort of decision myself. And so I decided some time back that I was going to look after myself and look after my social calendar, and that was more important than the business. Financially, that hasn't exactly been the best business decision, but I think in terms of my overall health, well-being, and spirit, it was the right thing to do. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Jim. Raise your hand if you feel stressed today, or you can be, Jim. You already answered the question. Anyone else? No? Andre, okay. Andre, this goes for you. What kinds of tasks can you put on your to-do list to relieve stress?
Well, thank you very much for this amazing question, Carolina. What task I can put on my to-do list to relieve the stress? Sleep. Just one single thing. Extra half an hour or 40 minutes a day to break the day, to have that little nap changes everything. You see, I'm an oval, and I would rather stay late until maybe 2, sometimes even 3 in the morning. And as I'm here right now with online presenters, even though it's already 1:30 in Manchester, UK. And I need to get up at 7 a.m. to take my children to school. And then, yes, I do feel excited, but half day through, I start feeling really tired, being grumpy, and relieving my anger on some of the clients as well. A few years ago, I said, you have to go through it. You just have to. You have to do that, you have to do that, and so on. And then I decided to set up an experiment. What if I love myself. I let myself that luxury, sleeping half an hour during the day. And it changed my perspective on life. And it changed not only how I feel, surprisingly, it started making people around me happy as well. So my recommendation, if you can imagine all things in the world, one thing that comes for free is sleep. Test it. We'll see if you like it. Put it into your business agendas. And if you need a sleep coach, we can sleep together. Call me. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Andre. I'll call you. And I have one last question. Do I have a volunteer for the last question? Okay, so I'll pick one person. This question says, tell me the steps or the task that you put in on a list to turn your goals into action. This question goes to Sunny Fridge.
Would you repeat the question?
Okay. How do you turn your goals into action? Maybe you can give us a list, the steps.
Okay. How do I turn my goals into action? That's a great question, Madam Table Topics Master. It begins with a dream, but if you don't follow through on that dream, it will never come true. Just the other day, I was telling my students, teamwork makes the dream work. And if they don't do teamwork, their dream won't work. I turn my dreams into action by having a dream, that idea, that thought, and then I see it, I visualize it. And soon it's like, I can't wait to go to bed until I can wake up in the morning to turn that dream, that goal into action. John Maxwell says that you don't manage your time, you manage your priorities. And then there are others that would say to get your goals done, you need to eat that frog, do the big thing in the morning. I just bought a book the other day because one of our Toastmasters said atomic habits, those little things you can do. I believe it's a combination. So how do I turn my goals into action? Day by day, I get something done. I too, like Glenn, love calendars. Mine is over there, but it is amazing. If it's not written down, it ain't happening. That's what I say to people. So I just make sure that I write it down, and then I look and see if I've accomplished it. And at the end of the month, I see what went well, what didn't go well, and what could I do better. And little by little, some of those dreams, some of those goals, they actually take action. And the last thing that I'd like to leave you with is I tell my students and myself, be careful of your thought, for they become your words. Be careful of your words, for they become your actions. Be careful of your actions, for they become your habits. Be careful of those habits, because then they're going to become your character. And be careful of your character, for it becomes your destiny. But it begins with thoughts, words, and actions. So if I can turn my goals into action, I feel a lot better at the end of the day. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Sunny. And thank you all for participating in this section. Mr. or Miss Timer, is everyone qualified?
No, Sunny Fridge did not qualify. She went over. Everyone,
really?
Yes, everyone else qualified except for Mike. Failure to plan.
No,
Mike,
but it's not fair because you were busy. I think everyone is qualified today. You can say yes. You can, because you were not taking your own time. Yeah, keeping track. Please send your vote for your favorite to our vote counter, Diana, in a private message.
Well, DTM stands for don't time me. We earn the privilege.
Okay. You're qualified. Miss Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you, Carolina, for that exciting Toastmaster table topic session. At this time, we're going to go into our evaluation part of the meeting. We've already had our speakers. We've had our table topics, before we get a chance to do impromptu speaking. And now we're going to hear from our evaluations of how well we've done at this point. So please welcome Jim Barber, our general evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It is my privilege and honor to be your general evaluator this evening. And as Sarah just indicated, I will evaluate the meeting as a whole. Before I do that, though, we had one tremendous speaker this evening, Tricia Smith, and we are privileged to have evaluating Tricia's presentation, one of the club's best evaluators, Andre Smolenko. So, Andre, how did Tricia do tonight?
Thank you, Jim. Tricia did amazingly well tonight. My fellow online presenters and guests, most importantly, Tricia, what a great, enthusiastic icebreaker for your effective coaching level 1. As you said, that is your 4th project already, 4th pass that you're working on. And I could feel it. I could see it in your hand gestures. I could see it in your eyes. I could see it in your confidence that you beam through. The project was, in a way, simple and interesting to tell the club about yourself. You probably have done it before a few times, and I could see that you were relaxed, and you made us all relaxed as well about your numerous accomplishments. about your background, teacher, writer, photographer, a family person, educator, gardener, with your hobby, business, and it was keep on going and going and going. And I was following you through all the way. I'm sure many of our online presenters were engaged with your speech. Your hand gestures, I think they were quite harmonious with your speech. You were using them appropriately, and you were approaching the camera and making stresses when that was needed. I really enjoy your speech. At the same time, you are an experienced speaker, and you asked me to look out at a few things. One of them was pacing, and the second one was any Phil Awards. Phil Awards, not my job. However, pacing, I would love to see you taking a bit more time and creating that suspense. I'm an educator. I'm a mother. I'm a gardener. And so on and so on. It just lets us process those things because we can imagine it ourselves. With a bit more work on pacing, I think your speech would make it much more interesting for everybody to listen to. At the same time, trying to pick just a few things out of all the worlds, all that excitement, that enjoy you bring to us. Perhaps you could pick maybe 2 or 3 things and tie them up with your path you're working on, effective coaching. I think just those 2 little things will not be a problem for you in your next speech and the next. That's I personally really looking forward to. And I think your enthusiasm, your smile, your sense of humor and desire to bring that joy to us makes the big tick for me. Congratulations, and look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you, Andre. Madam and Mr. Timer, I believe it looked like that Andre qualified for voting with the time. He did. Outstanding. This is going to make it kind of tough. Our only evaluator this evening was Andre, so please cast your votes to Diana. I think she's feeling a little bit neglected. She said she didn't get many votes for table topics. See if you can send a few votes for Andre for best evaluator. And while you are doing that, let me run through the other roles and get comments from everybody. Let's start with the watcher. That's me. Okay, everybody did great. You always do. This is such an experienced club. Your lighting, your positioning, your use of the visual frame, everything is top notch. Sonny, I love what you're doing there with your off on one side and it's tracking you. I want to find out how you do that sometime. Toastmaster Sarah, I love your background. Things to do, checklist, looks great. Basically, everybody was top notch. Let me move on to somebody that's got something more interesting to say. For example, our grammarian, Marianne, how did we do grammar-wise?
Well, tonight there wasn't a lot to talk about, but I'll go down my list. I really liked Sunny's phrase, "Udly, the Grammarly for your voice." Jim, you used the Wizard of Oz. Tricia, 2 jobs for too long. I also liked when you said, empty nester. No more dogs, no more children. Mike, unfold into the new. I thought that was very poetic. Life is what happens to you on the way, when you're busy making other plans. That was a great John Lennon quote that was brought in. Jim, look after myself, look after my social calendar. And Andre, I could feel it. I could see it. It was really very powerful the way you said it, even though those words are simple, they were so well used and well placed. And you also used the word harmonious, which I just thought was a nice word to use. So back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Marianne. Great list. Thank you. Isabel, you're the Wizard of Oz this evening. How did we do in terms of the filled pause?
Well, everyone did a great job. This is such a wonderful, a group of such a wonderful speakers. And that made my job much easier. I almost did not hear any filler words. I think, Mike, I hate to pick you out. I think I only heard one earth from you, and everybody else is completely free of filler words. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Great. Thank you, Isabel. And speaking of Mike, I appreciate your stepping up as chat monitor this evening. How did we do chat-wise?
Well, as far as chat-wise goes, for the small bunch that we are, there was lots of chats. There's more chats than people that we have on board. So that was great. The chats, and for me to give an evaluation on the chat monitoring in 1 minute, come on. But I'll get to it. Most of the chats that were active were about Sunny, to be honest with you. They were really interested in the app that she used in her presentation, and they would like more information. So if you could give that information at the end of the meeting, that would be very nice. The other thing was well, that was pretty much it. Most of it had to do with the Udly app and how wonderful that presentation was. So anyway, I think my minute is gone. There's one other thing I'd like to say, but Mr. General Evaluator.
That's quite all right, Mike. That was a great report. Thank you. And I'll remind everybody that if you would like, rather than relying on your memory, you can go to the little 3 dots at the bottom of the chat page, click on that and ask to save a chat, and it will be preserved for all posterity, and you don't have to worry about remembering it or anything like that. And now it's my opportunity to evaluate the meeting as a whole. And in that time when I'm general evaluator, I generally like to present kudos to those few people who did an exceptional job. And I'm going to do that this evening. The difference is I'm going to recognize everybody because I thought everybody did terrific. In no particular order, Sunny, you provided a great tip to start with. Thank you so much. But then also thank you for stepping up later when Andy was having some problems as timer and you stepped up to be the assistant timer. We do appreciate that. Andy, speaking of Andy, Andy wasn't feeling at all well tonight, but he showed up. Evie showed up also. We appreciate both of you being here, even though you didn't feel like it. And Andy not only was here, but he also acted as timer. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, we had 2 guests. Guests normally just come and watch and see what's going on. No way, we drafted them. So Mike was our chat monitor who we just heard from. And let's see. Oh, Diana was vote counter and did a great job as vote counter. And don't go away because I'm going to be coming back to you in just a moment. Marianne was our grammarian this evening. Terrific job. Isabel was our counter. Terrific job there also. Tricia, that was a great speech. Oh, I always enjoy listening to you, but that was so good. And of course, Andre, you nailed it with the evaluation. That was terrific. None of this would have worked at all if not for the preparation that went into the whole evening by our Toastmaster, Sarah. Sarah, you did a great job as Toastmaster of the day. Thank you so much. Carolina, can't forget about Carolina. Those were great table topics question. Other than your faux pas of calling on the general evaluator, which you're not supposed to do, you did a great job as table topics master tonight. And Glenn, we're so glad to see you here this evening. I wish you could have participated more, but would love for you to turn on your camera next time so that we can see what's going on from your direction. There you are. But we're so glad that you're here, and I hope you'll come back again sometime. It was good to see you. And I think I touched on everybody there except for me, and what the hey, you know, I'm a Toastmasters junkie. I don't have anything else to do on a Monday night, so that's what I'm going to be here. And that was my evaluation of the meeting. We did good. This is an incredible club. I think, as Mike indicated earlier, this is just an absolutely incredible club, and Toastmasters is an incredible organization. I can't think of a better way to spend my Monday evening or whatever time and place it happens to be for you. That's it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster, Sarah.
Thank you, General Evaluator Jim. And thank you everyone for tonight. And as we close out and we think about checklists, so why are we going to use those checklists? Because those little things help free our minds so that we don't have to worry about things. It simplifies the task, frees up our mental bandwidth, and it helps us focus on those really important things. One thing I did learn when I was reading an article that there's a difference between to-do lists and checklists. And it says that to-do lists are things you do, and checklist deconstructs a task. So you don't have to remember it over and over and over. And there was another quote that I saw too. It says that our brains were meant for creating ideas, not for holding them. So you can just get all those ideas out on those lists and it'll free up your mind for more creativity. And we're going to go back to our president.
Before you do that, Madam Toastmaster, I screwed up because I wasn't working off of a list, or actually I was, but my list got out of order and I skipped somebody. I was supposed to go back to our vote counter and ask Diana who our best speaker, evaluator, and table topics presenters were this evening. So Diana,
Okay.
would you please?
Sure, Mr. General Evaluator. Our best speaker was Trish. Our best evaluator was Andre. And our best table topics speaker, drum roll, was Sunny.
Thank you, Madam Vote Counter. And I can either return control to Toastmaster Sarah or to our president, Andy Byrne. One of you take it away. All right.
Our president, Andy.
Okay, everybody clapping hands and use the reaction buttons because you've all done such a wonderful job. It's 2048, so as far as time management, this Eastern time, you're all doing well. We're fitting into that finish by 9 o'clock time frame. And if you have a desire to stay on a little bit afterwards, we can talk about anything you want. But there is a lot of discussion about technology.